everyone, my name is Kaylie and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Okay everybody, as you can see, we are back to the white background. A lot of you requested that I go back to it, so here we are. By the way, the link should be working now. Use the link on this video. Never use the link on any old videos. You go to the newest video, use that link, and that's the StoryTime link that should be working. Love you guys. Other than that, let's get into today's story time. I'm gonna bring you guys up close. There we go. Okay, so for those of you who may be new here, I'm going to do my quick usual little rundown. For most of the video, I will be looking in this direction because my mirror is over here and I would like to see what I'm doing. I do tell these story times in a first person point of view, so if you don't like that, then you can leave.
There's the door. There's the door, bitch!
And these story times are sent in by anonymous people. Okay, story time about how my mental illness low-key ruined my whole high school experience. If you guys hear snoring in the back, it is my dog Ace, so I apologize on his behalf. Okay, so a little background information. I was 17 and a junior in high school whenever this whole situation came about. And before y'all get to judging me, I just want to let you know, looking back at this, I know everything that I did was fucked up, okay? I mean, back then, I didn't really see anything wrong with what I was doing, but now I know. So, you know, better late than never, right? Anyway, so we're gonna do a quick little rewind. Now, I have always been super well liked. I've always had a ton of friends, never really had any issues with people, and I was honestly a pretty happy kid for the most part. Low-key went through some shit growing up, but finally my life became stable whenever I was like in 5th grade. Like I said, middle school, had tons of friends. I was super well liked, but for some reason, shortly after I got into high school, people around me started dropping like flies. And what I mean when I say that is nobody wanted to be my friend. Like, not one person. Like I said, looking back, I can see why. Honestly, they all had really valid reasons for not wanting to be my friend. But if they would have told me their reasoning back then, why they didn't want to be friends with me, I would have flipped the fuck out because I was not open to any constructive criticism, like at all. Anyway, so a lot of the people that just disappeared from my life, I had done something to each individual one of those people. Because if you did something that I found even the littlest bit suspicious, I thought you were out to get me or hurt me in some way. It was like an immediate resort to fight or flight. And instead of just not being friends with these people anymore and cutting them off, in my head, I had to hurt them before they could hurt me. Yes. Very toxic, as you can tell. But the first one to go was my best friend Stacy. Let me set the stage for you guys. So imagine, it's the end of September, close to October, the leaves are falling, it's getting a little bit chillier outside, and everyone in school is super fucking excited because homecoming's right around the corner. Oh my gosh, you guys, I love living in Florida, but like I miss the fall so much. Like I miss the orange, red, and brown leaves. So please enjoy it for me. Anyways, it was mainly the freshmen who were freaking out about it, okay? Nobody else in school really gave a fuck. But this was literally gonna be our first dance ever. So it was valid, but that's not the point. Now the stage is set, so let's get into the shit show. Now, my best friend Stacy and I, we are gossiping about who's probably going to ask us to homecoming and who we should put in a good word for each other with. Because that was our master plan. I was gonna tell her crush or whoever she wanted to go with that they should ask her, and she was gonna tell whoever I liked or whoever I wanted to go with that they should ask me. And that's exactly what we did. She went and told my crush, aka Tommy, that he should ask me to the dance, and I went and I told her crush, Zach, that he should ask her to the dance. Now, Zach wasn't on board with this because he said that he had a crush on a different girl, which later he texted me saying that I was his crush. Of course, like this is why we can never have anything nice. Anyways, so then he Snapchats me and he says, I really would rather want to go with you instead. And I'm like, listen bud, I like someone else and my best friend likes you. That's not how this works. Sorry to break it to you, but you are shit out of luck, my friend. Now, of course, I didn't tell Stacy about what he said because I didn't want to hurt her feelings. Instead, I just told her that he never responded to my Snapchat. But I was super excited because luckily for me, Tommy told Stacy that he was going to ask me to the dance. So I'm geeked. Like, I am so fucking excited. So then her and I, you know, we're talking about it and I'm like, oh my goodness, I really hope that Tommy asks me in a cute way and he doesn't just Snapchat me asking me to go to the dance. And then I get another idea. I'm like, oh, actually, can you do me another favor? Can you tell Tommy that you'll help him make the poster to ask me to homecoming? And because she's my best friend, she didn't even hesitate to say yes. Now, fast forward, she tells Tommy, and now the plan is set in motion. She's gonna help him make the poster, and all I have to do is sit back and act like I don't know shit. Now, I have never been an insecure person, and I've never had jealousy issues before, but for some reason, I got super pissed off the day that Tommy and her hung out after school to make my poster. She was texting me updates, telling me like, hey, we're at the store, you know, what colors do you want it? Send me some inspo pics. Now, a normal person would have been extremely grateful that their best friend was doing this for them. But me, on the other hand, I thought that she was trying to make me jealous. Yeah, I didn't have any reason to think that, but that is immediately where my brain went. AKA, she's jealous that I have somebody to go to the dance with and she doesn't, so now she's trying to steal my date. While I was thinking about this, I also started thinking, OMG, she found out that Zach likes me and that's the reason why he didn't want to ask her to homecoming, and she's even more jealous that he said that he would rather go with me. That is why she's doing this. And that's also why she seemed to be so eager to help me with this in the first place. Looking back at it now, she was never eager. I honestly just think that I was putting so many thoughts into my head and over analyzing situations, and like, you know how they say that when somebody lies so much they start to believe their own lies? Well, I think that I was just believing whatever I wanted to believe. So yeah. Oh no. So yeah, like I said, looking back at it, she was never eager. She let me pick out the day that she should go over there, but I didn't see it like that at the time. Stacy was trying to sabotage my date with Tommy, my man, who wasn't my man, but like, go off, sis. Anyways, so that night, the wheels in my head are spinning really fucking fast, okay? Like, I tried going to sleep at 10:30, but you would think that I was getting paid to make up different scenarios in my head, as many scenarios in my head of how Stacy was trying to fuck me. So anyways, finally at 2:30 in the morning, after 4 hours of staring at the ceiling, I finally decide that it's time for me to go off on Stacy. So this is when I send her a text, word for word, and I quote, "Stacy, I just want to say that you're such a fucking whore and a snake. You only care about yourself, and just because Zach doesn't want to go to homecoming with you and he likes me instead doesn't mean that you can steal Tommy away from me. I can't believe that you would do this to your best friend. You two-faced, backstabbing bitch. I've always been there for you, etc., etc., blah, blah, blah." You guys get the point. So after I sent this text to her, I felt like 1,000,000 pounds had been lifted off of my shoulders and I could finally go to sleep peacefully, knowing that I just called her on her bullshit and I caught her trying to sabotage me and what I had with Tommy. So fast forward the next day, I get up, I check my phone, and I look at my text messages and I see a message from Stacy. And it's a screenshot of her sending a screen recording of my voice recording that I sent to her. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. She pretty much sent him the voice message and she sent me a picture of her showing him it, okay? Okay. Anyways, obviously I'm annoyed by this. And then there was another screenshot sent 5 minutes later, and this was all before I woke up. So like, she had been getting to work early on fucking my shit up. In the next screenshot, Tommy had texted her back saying, "Ooh, what the fuck? She's so weird. We're not even dating." And then after that message, she just sent, "Fuck you." Well deserved, but you know, at the time I didn't know that. So, you know, I tried calling her a bunch of times. It goes to voicemail. Like, this scary asshole literally blocked me. So now I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't even give a fuck that she blocked me. She probably blocked me because she knew that she was in the wrong and that I was gonna call her on her shit. Yeah, that's what I was telling myself at that time. That's exactly what it was. So anyways, fast forward. I also messaged Tommy and I'm like, hey, like, what I said in the message wasn't saying that you and I were dating. I was just using that as one of the examples because she's been super jealous of me for a while now. And that was just the most recent thing. And he was like, honestly, I don't care. I still don't really want to go with you anymore. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. So now I have to find somebody else to go to homecoming with. But this whole situation really hurt me. So now I decided that I have to hurt Stacy even worse than she hurt me. Yeah. So then I text Zach saying that I really wish that I had someone to go to the dance with. Yep, y'all already know where this is going. And then fast forward to Monday, I'm sitting in class and Stacy and I still haven't spoke to each other, and it's been like a week maybe, but we still have to sit at the same table in math, which was perfect because about 15 minutes into our math class, guess who walks in with a poster to ask me to homecoming? Yeah, yup, you guessed it, Zach. Now that right there was truly the end of Stacy and I's friendship. You thought that it would have been me calling her a whore and everything else, but of course she permanently ends it over a boy. Anyway, so yeah, I walk up to the front of the class and I just hear her laughing and whispering with the other girls at the table. And then Stacy goes, what the fuck is wrong with this psycho bitch? And then I come back to the table and I make sure to set my flowers right on her desk that Zach gave me. And her and I almost got into a physical fight in that class. Like, she grabbed the fucking flowers and literally whipped them at me. And it took everything in me not to reach across this table and grab this bitch by her hair and absolutely drag her. So I'm proud of myself. Kept my cool, kept my composure. Anyways, so yeah, as you guys can see, there was a lot of self-sabotaging going on. And this was all throughout my freshman and sophomore year of high school. Because like I said, for some odd reason, something just switched in my brain and I thought everybody was out to get me. Now fast forward to the summer before my junior year in high school. I'm actually super proud of myself for the amount of work that I put in to myself to try and be a better person. Like, I started going to therapy, I made amends with a lot of people that I fucked over who forgave me when they probably shouldn't have. There was only one girl who didn't forgive me, and I honestly do not blame her because that whole situation was just fucked up. I don't even know if I should tell you guys. I'm just kidding, I'm gonna fucking tell you. So I had a huge crush on this girl's brother, who we're gonna call TJ, and things between him and I just didn't work. He said that I was super clingy and toxic, and usually when him and I would fight, I would ask his sister to help me get back in contact with him. So she would go, she would talk to him, tell him to unblock me, and every time he did, thankfully, because I probably would have went insane if he didn't. But yeah, she did this for me a good like 10 or 15 times. But the last straw for both of them, I guess, was when I may or may not have threatened TJ with a firearm. I'm just kidding, I totally did that. But in my head, it was valid because he was trying to break up with me. Like, him and I are in the car and we're talking about our relationship. And I'm telling him that it upsets me whenever he blocks me without an explanation. And also, I had a feeling that he was cheating on me with this one girl from a university that he knows. Like, she's not even in high school. And he's like, listen, like, I just can't do this anymore. Like, honestly, I don't want to be held down. It feels like you're trying to push me into a relationship or like some marriage. Like, I'm only 17. Like, I don't want to go through this anymore. So that's when I told him that I was going to unalive both of us. Yeah, unalive both of us if he broke up with me. So of course, him being terrified for his life, what is his response? I'm sorry, babe. I love you so much, babe. And I'm like, no, you're only saying that because I have a gun. Because I was also like pointing the gun at him. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I was pointing the gun at him. Anyways, so yeah, I say to him, the only reason why you're saying that is because I told you that I was gonna kill us both. And he was like, no, honestly, like, this is why I wanna be with you, because this just shows how much you really care about us. And in my head, I'm like, aw, That's so sweet. And then he says that he wants to be with me forever. And I believed it. So probably like 5 minutes after I get home, he fucking blocked me. So did his sister. Yep, that little snake. His mom calls my dad and told them about what happened. Now, my parents weren't really surprised by this because it wasn't just my peers that I thought were out to get me. I thought that it was everybody, including my parents. So yeah, like, I've been putting them through hell as well as all of my friends. Anyway, so like I said, his mom calls my parents. They told them about the gun, so he snatches my backpack out of my hand, and ta-da, he found his gun in there.
Too many Glocks in this. Know what the fuck going?
No, but seriously, after that, they took me to a mental hospital, which this is not my first rodeo. I've been put in there before, which doesn't do anything but make it worse for my parents because they're the ones who have to deal with me whenever I get out.
Everybody over in that party is getting their ass whooped today.
So he knew that taking me there wasn't gonna do shit, but the only reason why he did take me there was because TJ's mom sent my dad dash cam footage of the inside of the car. You know, when I was pointing the gun at him and threatening to kill us both. Yeah, that footage. Anyway, so yeah, like I can hear them on the phone with my parents because TJ's mom's literally screaming at my parents and they're like, we're gonna call the fucking cops. Your daughter is crazy. She almost killed my son, blah, 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 blah. And then my dad was like, okay, like, please don't call the police. Like, I'll take her to a mental hospital if you don't call the police. And she was like, okay, you better, but I want to go with you whenever you drop her off at the mental hospital to make sure she's actually going there. And then, yeah, that was that. Fast forward 13 hours later, the girl's out. Now that you guys know how I get when I am upset, you most likely will not be surprised at how low I stoop after I got out of the mental hospital. Especially when I tried texting his phone and his sister's phone, and I can't get a hold of either of them. Now I'm even more pissed. So this is when I post on my story. I can't believe I was talking to a guy that fucks his own sister. Bet y'all didn't know that the baby was his. LOL, I guess you could say that I dodged a bullet. Yeah. Y'all, I know, you don't even have to say it. I was literally an awful human being. Now, the reason why I said this was because there were already pregnancy rumors going around about his sister, and she hung out with the weird kids, and he hung out with losers as well, so... And even though nobody really liked me, I was still like popular, I guess. So everybody kind of took my word over theirs. And they got bullied a lot for this. Like a lot. But there was nothing I could do about this. Damage was done. And like I said, she didn't forgive me after this. But like I said, completely understand. I wouldn't forgive myself either. So anyways, yeah, that is a long story of the one girl who just wouldn't forgive me out of all the people that I was making amends with. But I was working on myself and also working on my relationship with my family. And the best part about all this was we had actually moved to a different state. So I was even more happy because I felt like I was truly gonna get a fresh start. So fast forward to the second week of school, I meet this guy who we're gonna call Logan. And I meet a few other friends as well. But Logan, listen, him and I clicked instantly, okay? Right away. And I have this habit of making new people that I like, especially people that I see as potential romantic partners, my lifeline. What do I mean by that? Well, let's say that I meet you on the street and I feel like you and I have a connection that I've never felt with anybody else, or I think I've never felt with anyone else. I'm going to put you on a pedestal, and you are essentially my new prized possession, my shiny new trophy. My world revolves around you, and your world revolves around me. Or should I say, it better revolve around me, or else you're fucked. Anyway, so him and I, we are talking for about like a month. And that was about as long as I could keep this cool girl act up, okay? You know, where I try to act like I'm not obsessing over you, but in reality, I have a creepy infatuation with you. And trying to be the cool girl is a lot of fucking work. Okay, for example, if you don't text me for 2 hours, you'll think that I'm totally fine with it because I'm aware that you have a life outside of me and whatever we have going on. But in reality, I am staring at my phone questioning why you're leading me on, if there's another girl, and if I should just completely cut you off or freak the fuck out on you. But with Logan, I didn't really have to worry about him not answering the phone and stuff like that, because his world did in fact revolve around me, as it should. Until he got a new job working at the movie theaters. All of a sudden, he would go hours without texting me or calling me. So that's when I text him and I'm like, hey, like, it kind of feels like you're not interested in me anymore. Like, you don't text me for hours, blah, 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 blah. And then Logan answers back and he's like, hey, sorry, it's just super busy with work, super hard for me to get on my phone. Maybe I can make it up to you and take you on a date this weekend. Now, part of me was super happy that he like acknowledged how I was feeling and that he was trying to make up for it, but then the other half of me was like, no bro, there's definitely someone else. He's just trying to make you happy right now so that way you won't suspect anything. So at this point, I know that I cannot freak out on him about this, okay? Especially when I have no proof, and getting proof of this would be hard without looking like a psycho. So this is whenever I start really pushing for him to ask me to be his girlfriend. I'm like, listen, we already do all the things that couples do, so why are we not in a relationship? So finally, literally right after he asked me to be his girlfriend, I'm like, okay, well, now that we're dating, I need to have a conversation with you. I think that you're cheating on me at work. And he goes, you could definitely tell, like, on his face, he was shocked. Because I'm telling you, he was like, you know, will you be my girlfriend? And I was like, yeah. And then like 2 minutes later, I'm like, but I have something to say. So then he responds and he's like, what are you talking about? Like, I literally stand at the front and make popcorn the whole time. But I was honest and I told him that I still didn't believe him. So eventually we meaning I, come up with an idea that I would feel more comfortable if I was able to come sit at his work and just watch what he does for a day to make sure that he's not cheating on me with anyone. You could definitely tell that he was super uncomfortable with this and like really upset that I even felt like I needed to do this, but at the same time, what can I say? I was insecure. Okay. So the movie theater was inside of the mall across from the food court. So what did I do? I sat at the food court at one of the tables that was like directly across from the movie theater. And you know, fast forward after about like 3 hours of sitting there just watching him make popcorn and clean shit, I was getting bored. So I went to go and leave, but then I see this blonde bitch walk up to the front and start talking to him and start making popcorn and stuff as well. And this is when I was like, oh hell no, oh fuck no. So I sat my ass back down and then I see them laughing together, and that's when I decided to get up and leave because not on my watch. No. As soon as I call my Uber and I get inside of it, I text him and I'm like, I hope you're happy with that whore. Don't ever fucking text me again. So then I block him, but I obviously don't block him on everything because I still want him to be able to contact me because I still like him. I just wanted him to work for it a little bit, you know? Anyway, so then he Snapchats me like a million times and he's like, please unblock me. I just want to talk to you. I love you so much. I promise I don't like that girl. I don't even really know her. She's honestly super weird. So I decided to unblock and forgive him, but I still don't like the lack of attention that I'm getting. So this is whenever I decided to start talking to somebody else when he wasn't talking to me, aka the nights that he was working with that blonde bitch. I started hanging out with this guy who we're gonna call Jamie, and I'm not gonna lie, Jamie and I were doing the nasty. And Logan would let me borrow his car while he was at work because it was less expensive for me to use his car rather than Uber. So Jamie and I would literally do it in his car. And I felt no remorse whatsoever.
I know I be doing some fucked up things. What I do? But you did a fucked up thing.
Yeah. So fast forward, after a month of this, Logan comes to my house and I get in the car and I'm sitting there for a minute and I'm like, why are we still sitting here? Aren't we gonna go? And then he says to me, we need to talk. And I'm just like a little confused. I'm like, okay, what is this about? And then he holds up a sandwich baggie with a used condom in it. And he's like, I found this in the back of my car. And I'm like, oh, like, okay, and what are you trying to say? And he's like, please don't play dumb with me right now because I'm really about to flip the fuck out. And then that's whenever I interrupt him and I'm like, actually, I'm about to flip the fuck out because what are you trying to say? Are you trying to say that it was me? Do you have something that you want to tell me? Because I think I know exactly what's going on right now. You had sex with that blonde bitch in your car while you were at work, and you just found the condom, don't know what to do with it, so you decide that you're gonna confront me. And he's sitting there and he's like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, no, I already know what's going on here. So at this point, we're both denying it to each other. I'm blaming him, you know, like yeah. And then I'm like, okay, well, have you ever thought that maybe it was neither of us and you leave your car unlocked 24/7? I wouldn't doubt if some teenagers who came in the car, had sex in the car and left the condom. And he was like, I mean, I guess, but like, you promised it wasn't you. I was like, I promise it was not me. And he was like, okay, so you promised me that it wasn't you? And I'm like, I promise, and trust me, I wouldn't get all worked up about that girl at your work if I was cheating on you. The day that you need to worry is the day that I stop caring. So after this, him and I are good, and I definitely get the hint that it is time for me to take a step back from hanging out with Jamie. But this is when I also tell him that it's time for him to quit his job. I just don't feel comfortable with him working around that girl, you know? So he quit his job. As you guys can tell by now, I am extremely toxic. And I really did not see anything wrong with what I was doing. Yeah, like I never had one moment where I was like, damn, I feel like a fucking piece of shit for doing this. Anyways, so Luke quit his job, and since he was already 18, he decided that he just wanted to finish his senior year of high school online so that way he could start working at his grandfather's company. I don't exactly remember what his grandpa's company is called, but all I know is that they do like interior designs and car wraps. But the one thing that I didn't like about his grandpa is that he was like some bachelor. His wife passed away, and so all he does is literally work on cars and go to fucking strip clubs. So this is where Logan and I started having really bad arguments. I told him that I didn't want him working there. But then Logan says, my grandpa promised me that whenever he retires, he's gonna give me the business, so I wanna keep working there. So I'm just like, okay, well, ultimatum time. I made him choose between me and his grandpa's company. Surprisingly, he chose his grandfather's company. I know this might not seem like a shock to you guys, but to me, this was a fucking complete slap in the face because one, I thought I have this man wrapped around my finger. Like what? Clearly not. Like, how are you gonna believe me when I tell you that somebody random broke into your car, had sex in there because you're so blinded by your love for me, but you are not going to give up a job for me? So I told him that we were done. Honestly, this was a bluff because I still loved him so much, but let me tell you how this mess went down. So he comes to pick me up from my house, and for some reason I feel like I always have these conversations in the car with these guys. Like, I don't know what it is, but the car is just not lucky for me. The next time that a guy says that he wants to talk to me and it's inside of a car, I'm gonna make us get outside of the car. Anyway, so I get inside the car and I'm like, listen, we need to talk. And then I tell him, I think we need to take a break because I feel like you don't value me at all. Like, you're choosing a job over a living, breathing human being who loves you. And you telling me that you value me, and then you do this, it's just your words aren't matching up with your actions. And then he says to me, I don't know how much more I can prove to you that I love you. I literally quit my job so I can be with you. And that's when I interrupt him and I'm like, hold on a minute. It wasn't because you wanted to be with me. You made it seem that way at the time, but in reality, it was so that way you could work at your grandfather's business. Don't act like you did this for me. And then he's like, so what do you want to do about this? And I'm like, I don't know, I just think that we should take a break. And he goes, yeah, honestly, I think that's a good idea. Breaking my heart. And I'm like, wow, what? And he's like, I mean, I think that you're right. Like, clearly things just aren't working. And I'm like, so what, you're not gonna fight for us? And then he goes, I don't know how much more I can fight for us. Like, to be honest, I feel like you're holding me back. I'm out here trying to create a life for myself and for our future if we had one together, but it seems like you don't want any of that. And no offense, but you don't do shit. You sit at home all day, scroll on your fucking phone, you go to school, you don't even get good grades. I can't deal with you trying to control my life anymore. I tried to make you happy, it didn't work, so we're done. I felt really attacked. So then I'm telling him, I'm like, you're saying all this stuff to me, but you're just slipping around everything that I just said. You're the one who's making things toxic. I'm the one who wants to spend time with you and work things out. Like, I didn't know that it was a crime to want to spend time with the person that you love. And just as I'm about to go off on a whole nother tangent, he interrupts me and he's like, get the fuck out of my car. And I'm like, what? And he's like, get the fuck out of my car. And I'm like, why are you speaking to me that way? And he responds and he's like, because I'm not about to be manipulated by you once again. You don't care about anybody but yourself. You're manipulative, selfish, and you need to get fucking help. And then he goes, by the way, I ran into Jamie, the guy you cheated on me with, a few days ago, and he told me everything about you guys. And then he really called me on my bullshit. He was like, so do you want to make up more lies or can we be done with this right now? And then he added, actually, you don't have a choice. Get the fuck out of my car. I'm done speaking to you and I will never want to see you again. Listen, I wasn't gonna get out, but because we were sitting in front of my parents' house, I was pretty sure that he was gonna call the police on me if I didn't get out. And I just did not want to deal with that. Also, my mom and dad have been through this before with me, so I could make it a little less worse on them by not having the police show up. So, I get out of the car, I walk into the house, my parents see me, I tell them what happened. They start freaking the fuck out because they know that I'm about to go psychotic. But before I decided to lose it, I ran up to my room, I start messaging him and calling him, leaving him voicemails, saying that I was sorry for everything and everything was my fault and I promise I'll get help, I'll stop being toxic, I'll stop being controlling, I'll stop doing this, blah, 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 whatever he wants me to do, as long as like, I just want to be back with him. And he was like, you were the one who wanted to end things with me, I just solidified it. And I was like, oh my God! Because then he blocked me. But he didn't block me until like a little bit later, because after an hour I sent those messages, I went to send another one and then it didn't go through. So then I texted him on Instagram and I'm like, you're a piece of fucking shit. You did this just so you could be with somebody else. I always knew that you were gonna do this to me. I don't even know why I trusted you in the first place. You ruined me and you're dead to me. Don't ever speak to me ever again. Honestly, looking back at these text messages, I looked like a psycho because like, one minute I'm telling him, don't text me, you ruined my life. And then the next minute I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Please call me back. I miss you, blah, 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 blah. Like, it was bad. So I gave it about 3 days before I lost it. I tried, I really did. I had hoped that he would unblock me and that he would want to talk to me and realize that, you know, he was overreacting, but he didn't realize anything. So I stole a bottle of liquor out of my parents' cabinet, which was locked for this particular reason. I still went out of there. I drank the whole bottle of liquor and I went to his grandfather's garage, like where he would do the interior design, wrapping and all that stuff, you know, for his company. I went there, I broke in, and I went in there with a baseball bat and destroyed everything in sight. There were 2 super nice cars parked in that garage. I could see that they had just been done. Fucked those up, destroyed them. But I mean, you know what? He had pretty good security because it only took the cops 10 minutes to get there. But I mean, like 10 minutes was enough for me to really put a dent in some things. Obviously, I got arrested, okay? I got put in a juvenile detention center for like 2 months. I'm not allowed to go near him and his family because I don't remember this, but I sent some text messages before I broke in there, threatening him and his family's lives. Yeah. Right now I'm back in therapy, but instead of me just going there talking shit about my everyday life, I'm now being treated for BPD. And if you don't know what BPD is, it is borderline personality disorder. I'm happy that I was diagnosed with it because it gives me some sort of clarity on why I'm so fucked up in the head, or why I was so fucked up in the head. I mean, if I'm being honest, I would have been much happier. I don't think all of these terrible decisions that I had made would have happened if I knew what was wrong with me and I was getting the right help for it. But yeah, if you don't know what borderline personality disorder is, it is a mental health condition which there's no cure or medication for. Medical professionals believe that it could be due to traumatic experiences during childhood, such as abuse or neglect, or it's just genetic. One thing that I live by now that has helped me is the saying, do not make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. I tell myself this a lot because my emotions are constantly shifting. Makes it very hard for me not to make impulse decisions, especially whenever I'm going through like an emotional episode. But yeah, as you guys can see, this caused a lot of self-sabotage for me. It's kind of fucked. Okay, everyone, that is the end of today's story time. But the person who sent this in did leave a little message, and it says, by the way, Kaylee, I want to let you know that I wrote this as soon as I got out of the juvenile detention center. I was super upset while I was in there though, because I wasn't able to watch any of your videos. I'm glad you're out of there. I'm glad you're getting help, and I hope that you are doing better now. Okay, everybody, if you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more, maybe hit that subscribe button down below. And if you want to know whenever I post my next video, make sure to click that bell. And if you want to send in your anonymous story time, or you want to know how to send in your anonymous story time, make sure to click the links down below in the description. But other than that, I will see you guys next week with a new story time.